You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. The Chris Voss Show podcast. The family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as, I don't know, your mother-in-law at this upcoming Thanksgiving dinner. People are going to be listening to this 10 years from now going, it's not close to Thanksgiving, Chris. Anyway, guys, it is right now in 2023 is recording this device. And, of course, we encourage you to please, for the love of God, don't make me beg. Please refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to iTunes and give us a 5-star review over there. Goodreads.com/Chris Voss. LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. YouTube.com/Chris Voss. And we're starting to get cool over there at Chris Voss 1 on the Tickety-Talkety, or whatever the kids call it nowadays. I think it's called TikTok, actually. There's no Tickety-Talkety, Chris. Whatever. It sounds like tickety-talking to my 55-year-old ancient brain, but that's another problem. Get off my lawn. Anyway, no, kids are always welcome on my lawn from TikTok. I should probably say that now that they seem to be liking the show, or at least the intro for that matter. And we have the perfect target for this audience as well on today. We have an amazing gentleman, and his new book comes out tomorrow, September 5th, 2023. Josh Sundquist joins us on the show today. He's a multi-book author, and this is an adapted for young readers version of his book, Just Don't Fall. And it's called Just Don't Fall, adapted for young readers, a hilarious true story of childhood cancer and Olympic greatness. So we're going to have a lot of fun, be inspired, and learn a lot of really cool things. And the kids better like it, because this is a book that's adapted for young readers. Josh Sundquist is a Paralympian, a comedian, and internet creator. He is the author of the national best-selling book, Just Don't Fall, the novel Love and First Sight, the Yay memoir, We Should Hang Out Sometime, and Semi-Famous. His memoirs are in development for film and television by major studios and streaming services. Josh travels the globe as a motivational speaker for conferences and conventions. Josh is best known to his millions of internet followers for his Halloween costumes. He and his wife, Ashley, live in California near the beach, and he invites you to visit him at joshsundquist.com or follow him at Josh Sundquist. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Chris? Thanks for having me.
I am doing awesome. Normally I do the plugs, but you snuck them in there on the bio on me, so I did them for you. So there we go.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We knocked it out. Yeah, I guess we'll just wrap up now. Is this the end?
That's it. All right. See you. Good night. All right.
Yeah, thanks for that bio.
Any other plugs you want people to go to other than joshsundquist.com?
They can go wherever they want. They can Google me and just see what links come up and follow them to their heart's content.
There you go. So what motivated you want to write this book?
Like you said, so the first book came out 10 years ago, or over 10 years ago now, 2010. That was my first book, Just Don't Fall. So it was like a memoir about my childhood, I lost my leg to childhood cancer, and then I became a ski racer and eventually went to the Paralympics. That's basically the whole book. Those are all the spoilers. Now you don't need to read the book. But that's what the book was. And then this one came about mostly because during the pandemic, I had the chance to write and produce a streaming series inspired by the book / inspired by my life for Apple TV Plus, like a family comedy called Best Foot Forward. And that, the target audience of that show was like 8 to 12-year-olds. And so I went to my publisher and I was like, hey, there's a TV show now. But like the original book was like a kind of for adults. What if we did like a version of the book for the same audience demographic? And so that's kind of how it came about. And I guess I was motivated to do it just because, I like reading and, and reaching people with my stories. And here's a new new group of people who hasn't read my stories yet. So now they will tomorrow.
There you go. Awesome sauce. So, and Just Don't Fall was originally a huge hit and a national bestseller. And of course, it ended up on Apple Plus TV. And so it's great. You're reaching a new audience. Young people now, they've kind of gone through some hard times with COVID and schooling and, COVID schooling and all sorts of weirdness over the last few years. So everybody needs about as much inspiration as they can possibly get at this point in time. You think?
Yeah, I think I think we can all probably always benefit from some.
I softballed that one up to you. I really doubted you were going to say no. People don't need any of that.
Yeah, well, I guess I should have said yes, and that's why they should buy my book.
Oh, there you go.
From wherever books are sold, including audiobooks and ebooks.
Insert cash register sound board here. So tell us about your history. People who aren't familiar with your hero's journey, growing up, and what you experienced and what got you here.
Well, like I mentioned, I had this bout with cancer as a child, which, as one might imagine, certainly affected the trajectory of my life. Because I also lost my leg at the time due to
How old
cancer.
were you?
I was 9. So I was 9. I was on chemo for a year. And while I was still on chemo is when I learned how to ski. I'd never skied before, but I loved skiing right away. And I kept doing it, and then I got serious about it in a competitive way when I was in high school, and decided I really wanted to go to the Paralympics. So I started training, and I graduated high school early and moved to Colorado, and spent much of the next 4 years training and racing around the world, and then barely made the team, but I made it. I was they took the top 20 people. I was number 20, literally. So I was delightfully surprised that I got on the team, which was my goal. And so I got to go and compete there. It was cool. My parents came and watched. It was really, really special. And then I wrote that book. But these days, my day job, so to speak, is I give motivational speeches. I do some stand-up comedy. Obviously, as we've discussed, I've written some books and did a TV show. I make a lot of internet videos. I don't know. Those are most of the things, I guess, that I do. Occasionally act. I was just I'm in a streaming series on Netflix that just came out 3 weeks ago, where I voice one of the lead characters. It's an anime about some teenagers who pilot giant robots to fight aliens. It's very cool. It's called Mech Cadets.
Oh, there you go, man. You're doing everything, and now you're on the Chris Voss show. So
this is it. This is the pinnacle. So I can retire finally.
There you go.
My parents will be proud of me. And
I'm not sure after this show they'll be proud of you, but that's another story. They'll be the Chris Voss show.
We'll see what they think.
Yeah, they'll throw rocks.
I'll let you know.
I'm sure they're wonderful. But hopefully they sign up to subscribe. So thanks, Mom and Dad. So anyway, I'm just kidding.
TikTok.com/Chris Voss 1.
Yeah, there you go, Chris.
Who got the original Chris Voss?
I don't know. Somebody got on TikTok, some dude, and I tried contacting him to get it because I have Chris Voss everything, Chris Voss Twitter, Chris Voss Instagram, all those different things. And I tried contacting him, and he didn't reply. He put up 3 videos, and then somehow his account's been suspended. So now I can't even get it. We were going to try and reach out to TikTok and see if there's some way we can make some sort of arrangements, but I don't know. What are you going to do? So you inspire people, you help people. This book is adapted for young readers. Give us kind of a 30,000 overview of what's in the book that didn't read your first book when it first came out.
Well, it's a memoir about my childhood, and it is about specifically that sort of journey from cancer to the Paralympics, and it is told in the voice of the narrational voice is as if I am the age that I'm relating the story from. In other words, when I talk about cancer, it's sort of from the point of view of me as a 9-year-old. In terms of vocabulary and sentence structure and what I, the narrator, understand about what's going on around me. And then, as I get older, the voice in the story matures as well. Ultimately, then leading up to adulthood and the Paralympics. So the young reader's version is the same as the adult version, just kind of with the boring parts cut out, which is it was like a great thing to be able to do as an author. At the time you write something, you're like, this is the greatest piece of literature ever created, and then 10 years later you're like, there's a lot of boring parts I shouldn't have put in. So then when I got the chance to do this young reader version, and they were like, yeah, actually we want it to be like 30,000 words, the original one's 100,000, I was like, amazing, this is great, I can't wait to cut out a bunch of stuff and just get it down to like the bare bones most, and it's also over 10 years. You hear a lot from readers, so I kind of like, I know the parts people like, so it's just like, cool, I'm just gonna leave those parts in, and honestly the new version is better, and even adults should read the new version because it's just better. It's not different other than shorter, and some language and maybe mature ideas are removed, but for the most part it's just shorter.
There you go. I've been hearing from authors that the books are just getting shorter and shorter with the people's attention spans, and which is unfortunate because books are such an awesome thing. But I'm sure younger people right now have shorter attention spans too. I mean, we've been joking about TikTok. So, what is it? 1 to 3 minutes, 10 minutes over there.
Like 7 seconds.
7 seconds,
not minutes. Jeez, I don't know. Yeah, who's watching your minute videos? I can't hold people's attention for more than like 6 seconds on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm old. I like the long videos, but yeah, they're probably just flipping through this stuff. So you go through this journey. I mean, I tried to learn to ski one time, and I was much older, and I don't know. It was the most hardest thing I ever done. I fell on my butt so many times the first day I went and tried. I think I thought I'd broken a hip and a butt bone probably, and I was just hurting by the time I gave up on it, and I never went back. So I mean, trying to do that with 2 legs is one thing, but you do it with one, and you went to the Olympics with it, the Paralympics with it. I mean, that's extraordinary, man.
Thank you.
That's a hell of a journey.
You just went the one time?
I just went once, and I gave up. I quit. I was a quitter. Yeah. I should have read your book first to be inspired.
Well, you'll have to read after you read the book now. I'm sure you'll be inspired to go break your butt bone again.
It's really cold out there too. I got to tell you, man, I'm not a cold person.
Tell me about it. No, I don't ski. Why do you think I don't ski anymore, Chris? I got tired of the cold and the schlepping hundreds of pounds of equipment around the world. Yeah, it was a really fun thing for a while, but I live at the beach now. I don't mess around with that cold anymore.
I think they have skis for the beach, don't they? No, don't they have some sort of weird thing? But I grew up in skis,
I guess.
I grew up in SoCal. And so that was my whole life. And then my parents...
Where specifically?
I was born and raised in North Hollywood. We lived down the block from Bob Barker, and who recently passed away, rest his soul. And we used to walk the dog with him. And then we moved up to La Crescenta. And then we moved up to Utah. So I went from beautiful, sunny SoCal to freezing cold Utah. Yeah. But as a teaser, in case you want to get back to it, I just saw on the news that Snowbird up here in Utah just had their snow. So
you're still in Utah?
You're still in Utah right now, yeah. So,
I live in Santa Monica, so I'm close to where you came from.
Yeah, we used to go down there all the time on the beach, spend our days down there with our mom driving us down to Santa Monica Pier, and lots of great memories. Just a great place. I mean, nice. just wonderful. So that's a rough place to be. I feel sorry for you now, Santa Monica. In fact, prior show we were talking about the promenade, the 4th Street promenade, 3rd Street.
3rd Street.
3rd Street,
Street promenade. Mm-hmm.
I was getting that mixed up with Denver. But wonderful things there. Hi folks, here's Voss here with a little station break. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. We'll resume here in a second. I'd like to invite you to come to my coaching, speaking, and training courses website. You can also see our new podcast over there at chrisvossleadershipinstitute.com. Over there, you can find all the different stuff that we do for speaking engagements if you'd like to hire me, training courses that we offer, and coaching for leadership, management, entrepreneurism, podcasting, corporate stuff. With over 35 years of experience in business and running companies as CEO. And be sure to check out chrisvossleadershipinstitute.com. Now back to the show. So you want to influence and encourage people who are young. Who do you find reads most of your books? Is it young people that are trying to find their way? Is it people that need a lift? Who do you think you inspire most from the feedback you get?
I'd say most. So I have 4 books that I've published, of which 3 are YA, which is like young adult. So that's specifically like teenagers. So so teenagers read my books more than any other group because the books I've written are for teenagers. It doesn't mean I'm like a teen whisperer or have incredible magic to share with teens, but I think that's happened because of my social media, and so publishing companies have been especially interested in me writing books for teenagers. So this next book is kind of my first book for children, right? For like, sub teenagers. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, some of them will read it. But right now I see teenagers and and like 20-something kind of people, and then people who hear my speeches will a lot of times read Just Don't Fall. So yeah, I guess those are the people who tend to read my stuff.
There you go. Where does the title come from? To people who aren't familiar with it, Just Don't Fall. Yeah.
From my editor. To be honest, I never really understood what it meant. I've like retroactively tried to like figure out like once we named it, my mom was like, because we had like lots of other titles and I had my own titles, and as you know, publishers always want to like add their own title, which is their prerogative. So my editor was like, how about Just Don't Fall? I was like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, well, we like it. So if that's what it's going to be. And then, when I told my parents, my mom was like, oh, well, like when you were coming down the mountain at the Paralympics, that's what I just kept saying to myself over and over. Like, just don't fall, just don't fall, just don't fall. Oh. So I was like, great. If anyone asks in the future, that's where the title came from.
There you go.
From my mother at the Paralympics. I think I think there's some irony, in fact, to the title, because the reality is that of course you're going to fall. Like that's if anything, the story is a story about how we all fall a lot of times. And I guess the more accurate title in terms of messaging would be like, just don't stay down, or just don't not get up, or something like that. Because when I started as a ski racer, I was terrible and I fell a lot. So I certainly didn't follow the advice of the title of the book, but I kept getting back up, and that was the important thing.
Yeah, that sounds like when I tried to learn to ski, I would just keep falling over.
Yeah,
on my butt. I mean, like I must have fell like, I don't know, 50, 100 times, and that's just trying to just stay in one place on the skis without going down a slope. So they were like, you want to go on the bunny slope? And I'm like, no, I want to go home. So I gave up. But the beautiful part is you didn't give up, and you kept on going, and now you inspire people and share your message around the world. What's a story or a piece you can maybe tease out from the book that you can tease readers to go pick it up?
I guess on the subject of falling, let's talk about that in more detail. So my first ski race, I was 16, and I had skied a lot, but just sort of recreationally, never like competitively. And my first ski race I went, it was like I was the only person with one leg there. It was an able-bodied race, but I was very convinced. Like I truly believed, Chris, that I was going to win the race. Like it was going to be amazing. I'd seen like a lot of inspirational movies, and I thought like this is going to be amazing. Like when I win and just blow everyone's mind with my natural talent. So I come out of the gate very enthusiastic and positive, and I fell on the third turn, like right at the top, like immediately. And I was obviously very disappointed because you're not going to win the race if you fall. But I was like, well, this is my first ski race, and I want to set the precedent of like getting back up and finishing. And so I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go across the finish line. No, I was too naive to the sport of ski racing to know that like I was already eliminated from the race. Like literally it's bad etiquette at that point. You should just ski off the course because you're just kind of wasting everyone else's time. But like no one's going to say that to this poor child with one leg who just started ski racing. No one's going to be like, excuse me, you've already been disqualified. You need to leave. No one's going to say that. So I just was able to keep going, and took forever because I kept falling. I fell again and again and again. I fell 5 times on the way down the course. So it took a long time, and I was last place by far. But I made it across the finish line, and and that was the important thing, and the thing that I could look back on and be proud of. So like I said, it is ironic that the book is called "Just Don't Fall" when it has stories like that of falling repeatedly. But that ultimately is, I think, the relatable message to everyone, because we all are falling metaphorically every day. So it's more a question about what you do after that.
And sometimes winning just isn't winning, being the first across the finish line. Sometimes the winning is being true to yourself, being true to your goal. And like what you did, you kept getting back up and you kept moving towards the goal line. And sometimes it's not about, getting the ribbon. Sometimes it's about, achieving in your mind that I'm going to finish this race. It's kind of like life.
Yeah, they don't give you a medal for that, but it's on a personal level, which is perhaps more significant than the medals. That can be a victory, and that certainly felt like that in a lot of ways for me in that particular race.
There you go. I was reading. I'm currently in the middle of reading David Goggins' Never Finished, and he tells this story about how he does I think it's a 240-mile race run. Yeah, and it ends up going bad. Some of his health becomes an interference. They go off course, and he ends up having to, I think, give up the race and go home to the hospital where there's maybe 70 miles left in this race. And he gets healed up in the hospital. They get him all set up straight, get his medication right. He goes home and is asleep in the hotel room, wakes up in the middle of the night and asks his wife, hey, how many days do we have to finish that 70 miles? And she figures it out, and he's got enough time to do it, but he's already lost the race. He's disqualified. He's not going to win anything. But the power of the same sort of thing that he had that you did, where it was more important for himself to finish it, to do it, to say he went and did it, was more important in the power word in his brain and in his motivation, and everything else. And I think that's really inspiring. Because sometimes it's not about winning. Sometimes it's just about showing up and doing the best you can, and knowing you did the best you can, and taking it to the next level.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
Life is kind of a big relay race. What inspires you? What got you through the hardships? There were a lot of challenges that went into you, trying to train for becoming a skier, professional skier, and stuff. What was your motivation? What got you through a lot of that?
I think, as a ski racer, I was just very enthralled with the idea of getting on the team, like on the Paralympic team, and wearing the uniform, which was important to me personally. In that, right before I like actually the same week that I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 9, I was going to try out for this local travel soccer team where I grew up in Virginia. And I largely wanted to try out for the team. I love playing soccer, of course, too, but like I really wanted to wear like the uniform. They had this cool uniform. I had a friend on the team. I thought, man, it'd be so awesome to get that uniform. And so I never got to try out for that team, obviously, and never got to play on it. So I think when I sort of learned about the Paralympics as a teenager, it was like, oh, this is how I can get the uniform. It's a different uniform, but maybe a better uniform. And so for me, that was the tangible goal that I was working towards. And so if I were to expand on that to make it relevant for other people, I would say the important thing is finding your uniform, which is to say, like, the thing that gives you that sense of like emotional excitement or buzz, when you think about it, right? Which may or may not be what other people think would be a good goal for you, or what other people think is cool. But it doesn't really, like, ultimately, if you are not excited and inspired by it, like you won't get there, because like your capacity to get back up or to overcome inevitable challenges on the way to getting your uniform is a function of your excitement about being there, because that's what's going to inspire you to leave the hospital and go run another 70 miles. Because for David Goggins, crossing those finish lines in the ultra marathons clearly is his uniform, right? That's like really exciting to him. To you or I, that sounds horrible and like something that would cause permanent injuries to all of our joints. But for him, he's like, that's what I want to do. So you gotta find what that thing is for you, and that's what I think can kind of give you the fuel to get there.
There you go. And now you're inspiring others, motivating others, and everything else. Any final thoughts as we go out?
Well, I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to see some of those dreams come true. Right, to have wanted to, from a young age, I wanted to become a writer, amongst other things, and so to be able to write books now is it's such an honor and a pleasure and a privilege. Going to go to the Paralympics, getting to have a TV show made about my life. Super cool. But when I was diagnosed with the cancer and found out about the chemo I was going to be on, the side effects, found out I was going to lose my hair and so forth, and they also told me that I might not be able to have children when I grew up, which at the time wasn't a super high priority. As a 9-year-old, it didn't feel terribly important. But as I got older, of course, that became relevant, and I got married about coming up on 8 years ago, and so that becomes then an important consideration. And when my wife and I wanted to start a family, and I'm very fortunate to be able to say that we have, and that we had a son that was born almost 5 months ago. So just before I came downstairs to record this podcast with you, I was upstairs playing with him and watching him do very simple things that just like with his hands or whatever. But as a parent, it's like, wow, amazing! Well, this is so cool to watch. So I'm just so fortunate to have seen a lot of cool things happen in my life, but in particular to have been able to pass my life and my genes on to a new life form. I think that's just, I'm so grateful for that.
There you go. Well, congratulations. It's been awesome to have you on the show, man. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, and hope everyone subscribes to your TikTok, tiktok.com/ you say your URL is so fast, by the way, where you're like facebook.com/ twitter.com/ then yeah, but tiktok.com/ the Chris Voss one. So I hope everyone subscribes to that and gets their brains melted, brain bleed. from the hottest podcast on the planet.
There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, the subscribers yell at me. They're like, "Dude, just get us past the plugs." And so we try and dress it up and speed it by them as quick as possible. Because
So,
most
like,
of them
rather
are
than
like,
cut them out, you're just like, I'm just gonna say them unintelligibly. Therefore, it's a lose-lose. Nude people don't understand what I'm saying, and subscribers still have to listen to it.
I can imagine people are sitting there trying to write it down. What?
Yeah. What was that? Yeah, look at it. Do you rewind? Yeah.
I think on podcasts, can't you slow stuff down like you can on
You can.
Audible? You can
Yeah,
Audible
definitely.
slow them down.
Yeah.
Like I'll speed them up on Audible 2 times. But yeah, if you ever can't hear the plugs, just speed them up. But dude, I've had like there's the intro that's like I think 36 seconds. Then I usually do like some little quick ramble, which is like I don't know another 30 seconds, and then the plugs are like 15 seconds, right? And I've literally had people yell at us on YouTube going, Jesus, it's like eternity to get to the guest on your show, man. And you're like 2 minutes? Like, what's going on in your life? Like nothing, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go over to people's house like that and just see what they do all day and be like, so this is what the fuck you're doing right now? And somehow it's taking up all your time, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
I interrupted you
what were
yelling
they
at your
gonna-
mother to go make you a sandwich or something while you're in a
What
basement.
could they have done with that 2 minutes? That to them is an eternity.
They're probably watching TikTok videos.
Yeah,
Anyway,
their time is clearly very valuable.
it is. They probably make at least, I don't know, however much unemployment pays. Anyway, thank you very much, Josh, for being on the show, for being with us, and thank you for inspiring people, man. It's a wonderful story, and people need all sorts of motivation. I think young people need a lot of help today because this world's crazy. You got wars and all sorts of stuff going on, and pandemics, and we all need as much positivity and help we can get. Thanks to Josh for being here. Thanks to Monis for tuning in. Go order up his book wherever fine books are sold, but stay out of those dirty alleyway bookstores. The book is entitled Just Don't Fall, adapted for young readers, a hilariously true story of childhood cancer and Olympic greatness, available tomorrow, September 5th, 2023. And also check out Josh's other books. He's got quite a few wonderful books that are also there. Pick them all up, order multiple copies. You can give away for Christmas. Christmas is coming up, people. So stack up. You always need that extra gift for somebody who gives you something. And of course, you didn't care about them, so you didn't think about them. But then you need that gift you could pull out. Here's this. I thought of you. Don't do that, people. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.